5. And again, I'm going to say welcome again. I'm not sure if the volume was on, so here we go again. Welcome to my Live at 5. And today we're going to be talking about and doing a class on the Framed Florets bundle. This is an early release to the upcoming catalog that starts in January, but we were able to get it early. And the paper is exclusive for this time period. So once it's gone, it's gone. So if this is something that you love, this is something that you may want to consider right away as you see how beautiful this paper is. All right, well, let's get started with tonight's class. I'll turn the camera around. All righty. So tonight's class, what we're going to do is we're going to be making 3 cards. Now, this is something that you can get a kit to go. If you'd like, or if you would like to have a free with a minimum of a $35 online order, and all of that information will be on there. Otherwise, just sit back and enjoy the free class here tonight. But this would be what class would be making. We're going to be making 3 of these cards tonight here. The kit would be, you'd be getting materials to make 6 of these, 2 of each of the 3 designs. And so we'll go ahead and we'll do these start to finish. All right, so I'll put these off to the side, and we're going to start with this cute layout here. So again, we're using the frame florets. I'm using just 1 bundle for all of this class, so that makes it really nice. And you would need to have your own dies, and so whether or not you have the floret dies or not, it's totally up to you what you'd like to have. All right, I think I'm mumbling here just a little bit. I'm sorry about that. All right, so let's just dive right in. You guys know me, I'm always half crazy when it's this live here. All right, so we are going to be making this card here. And I wanted to I'm bringing this one in because it's kind of a 2-for die on here. Let me bring this in. This is one of the dies that we get with the bundle. It is this one here. It makes this really neat ridged textured oval frame. And what you do is it's 1 pass, and when you die cut it, it die cuts these 2 separate pieces. And so we're going to be using 1 for this card and 1 for that card. So I just wanted to show you where this came from. So this is kind of neat. You die cut once, but you get 2 images from it. Okay, I'll put this off to the side. We'll do that card next. But I just kind of wanted to share with you that one. All right, so let's get the materials for this card here. We're actually going to be using the trimmer. So it's going to be kind of interesting. You guys normally don't see me do that too much. Whoops. Then I grabbed the wrong one. Like I said, I'm a little bit out of whack tonight again. All righty, there we go. All right, let's talk about what we're going to need for this card. We are going to need balmy blue cardstock. This is cut at 4 1/4 by, or I'm sorry, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and it's scored in half on that. We've got a piece of basic white. This is cut at 4 by 5 3/4. We've got a piece of basic white, and this one's a little different. This is going to be in the 8th world here. So this is cut at 3 3/4 by 2 3/8. Okay. And then we've got some of this beautiful designer paper. We've got one of them that's cut at 4 by 1 1/2, or I'm sorry, 3 3/4 by 1 1/2. And the other one is cut at 3 3/4 by 2 3/8. Okay. I think I've got everything now on that. All right. So let me bring in the trimmer. And we are going to make the card base. This card base is really super cute. When you open it up, it's a little different fun fold on it. All right, so let me get all of the components off here. I was rushing around trying to make sure that I could get our class here tonight, and I think I'm finally settling down. All right, so again, this is our standard card base. Again, it was 8.5 by 5.5, scored in half. And now what we're going to do is we are going to make a cut on the card front. We're actually going to trim off this top section here, and that's going to make our barn door. That's what this kind of fold is called. But we're not going to get rid of this, what we cut off, because we're actually going to turn it around and use it on our card front. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll do that. So I've got the 5.5 side in here, and we're going to actually cut it at 2 3/4. And so these larger lines here are the fourth line. So it's two, we go 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to get my scoring tool and our scoring blade. And what we're going to do is we're going to score it down to the fold line and then stop. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down and stop. All right, so actually what's almost better is if you pick this up and you put it where you start it, or where you want it to start. So we put on the score line and then in one swoop go up. What that's going to do is going to help you not have such jagged edges. And then we're going to turn this, and we're going to put it at the 4 1/4, which should be where our score line is already at. And again, I'm going to drop this down to where we just cut it. Again, we don't want to cut all of it. We're just cutting that section off. All right, so now we've just made our barn door fold. All right, but don't throw this away. We're going to use it. All right, so now what I like to do is you can see here where it's just a little ragged edge on it. Just kind of take your finger, and if you wanted to, you could moisten it a little bit. I have the chamois. Let me just go ahead and get a little bit on here. It's not super wet, but that's going to help take some of the jagged edges away. And if you see here, I've got a little bit over. You can also just take your snips, and I'm going to just trim up this just a little bit. So if you wanted to, you could also draw a pencil line and then just cut along the pencil line too, if that would scare you to do that. All right, that's our card base. Let's just go ahead and we'll get some of our layering pieces down. So I'm hoping you're liking this. All right, so this is going to be the inside. Again, this was 4 by 5 1/4 on our basic white layering. Taking the liquid glue, light touch. You don't need to glop it. I always say, like, less is more on the Tombow or on the multi-purpose glue. And then we're going to take this little strip that we have here of our designer paper. And if you wanted to, depending if you want to go more masculine or feminine on the card, if you wanted to go more masculine, you could always use this side of the designer paper. But I'm going to use the floral. We're pretty much a family of women at our house. I mean, there's a few of the guys that I need birthday cards to, but for the most part, I've got lots of ladies in my life. So I'm going to do the feminine. So I'm going to layer that up on the top. And let's go ahead and we'll layer our pieces here on the barn door front here as well. Again, this is 4 by, let me just make sure I have this right here, 4 by 2 5/8. And then we're going to layer that with a piece of our designer paper, the fitting florets, at 3 3/4 by 2 3/8. So let's just go ahead and we'll layer those pieces. Again, if you want to go with the other pattern, you're more than welcome to when you get your kit. And locals, if you want to take this class, it's next week, next Tuesday, or a week from the Saturday. So if you're, go ahead and message me if you're interested in taking the class here locally. And then we'll line those up like so. So that's just a pretty layout right there. And you could do whatever you wanted to, but why not repurpose the piece that we just cut off? And so what I like to do is center it right here. And we know we want the bottom half of it. So I'm going to just go halfway here with the liquid glue. And I'm centering that as it's closed. Let's get that over just a smidgen. Oops, it's down now. But there's what that looks like when it's opened. All right, let's do some stamping. This is from, again, everything's from the Frame Florets bundle. And I'm going to use this. I love the sentiment here, wishes for a beautiful birthday. So nice and pretty. And we're going to be using Balmy Blue ink. Oops, right here in front of me. And go ahead and ink that up. Just a tip with any of your stamps, you don't need to press hard. If ever you press hard and you see ink on your block, that means that you're pressing too hard. It really just needs to have contact. And I'm going to stamp this where it's just a little bit high on the oval. Again, this was the oval that was made when we die cut. Wishes for a beautiful birthday. And I'm going to grab my dimensionals. And don't be afraid to use all of these edges here on your dimensional sheet. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do just that. Whoops. Yep. And so we can do, this is a pretty good size embellishment here. So let's do 4. So this is a great way of getting all of the use of your sheets of dimensionals. And we'll do that. So it might, this fold might look a little intimidating, but trust me, once you get used to doing that and using your trimmer in that way, it kind of opens up a whole new world of layouts that you can use. Alrighty, let's see here. That is not that one. Here we go. All right, out of this paper pack, one of the dies actually will die cut out the floral image. So if you get the kit to go, what you're going to get is one of these shapes just loosely cut, and you can either fussy cut and trim those out, or you can take your die and get it nice and tight with it. But and once you run out of paper, don't worry, you've got this cute little image that's exactly for the die as well. But if you want to use the paper to die cut your image, you can, and that's what we're going to do here today. And again, I'm going to use my edge of the dimensionals, and I'm going to put this, let's see here. I just want to build up the bottom part of this because it's going to overhang on the oval that already is raised, so I don't need to raise it twice. Okay, so we'll put that right on the bottom. Wishes for a beautiful birthday. And then when you go to write, I would just make sure that you're writing below the center line here, so that you can, when it's closed, you don't see your words written here where it's exposed. Okay, well, that's card number 1. Yay! Put that off to the side here. And now let's do the second card that's going to be part of this class and the kit to go if you'd like to do that. And also, I shouldn't even say like the kit to go. You can, a kit to go if you're local and you can't attend in person, or, you know, this would be a free class kit with your minimum of $35 ordered using the link that's in here. All right, so this one, we're going to be using the oval. That's part of it. And this one reads, just a little reminder that you are loved and celebrate. So this one definitely, even though you've got the florals in it, because of the tones, I think you could send that to anybody that you would like. All right. So for this one here, get out my pieces. All right, so we have our standard card base, and that's our 8.5 by 5.5. And we'll get that folded in half. My bone folders are all out of reach. Okay, and what we're going to do is we can layer a piece of our designer paper. This is 3 3/4 by 5, and we're going to layer it on our basic white at 4 by 5 1/4, and we can just go ahead and get that layered. And how about just for the fun of it, let's use the other side so that you can see that you can go either way on these if you'd like. All right, so we'll go ahead and get that down. And I am going to put a bow on this, or the seam binding ribbon. This is the crinkled seam binding ribbon in white. And I'm going to kind of do a faux bow tie look here. So I'm going to have this so that it's centered in here. And you can either use your Stampin' Seal Plus, or if you'd like, you can just get some office tape. Sometimes it just kind of depends on my mood. A lot of times I'll grab my office tape here. I'm going to center that and put that down on the back. And I'm just going to do a quick double check here. That's where I want it. Yep, that looks good. And then once I have the seam binding ribbon taped down in the back, I'll go ahead and glue it down. Look at this. I'm going to kind of go over where the ribbon's at as well. And I think I do want the leaf side up. Okay, let's do that. All right, next I'm going to put down the oval, and I'm using the liquid glue again, and I'm just going to have just the lightest touch. You could use the fine tip glue pen on this as well. I'm just got, you know, a nice little bead here, and I'm going to put this down directly over top of my ribbon and center it. Alrighty, so we've got that. Next, I used the stitch shapes and got the banner out of the Balmy Blue. Oh, the card base, I don't know if I said it, it is Evening Evergreen. And I'm going to pull in some Knighted Navy. And I'm going to use this stamp that's part of the sentiment that says, just a little reminder that you are loved. And I'll go ahead and get that inked up. And I am going to put it a little bit flush to the left because I've got some embellishments that I'm going to put over to the right or to the left. So I want to stamp over towards the right. Stamp that. Alrighty, and let's see here. So part of our class, you would get, put all of my little doohickeys out. Oh, here we go. So again, these are little left and right leaves that are part of the set, part of the die set. And I am going to put just a little glue just on the tail here. Again, I'm doing it on the air, or up in the air. And I'll have this one going down. Again, I don't want to have any adhesive up on this part of it. So I'm just going to keep my glue on the tail in this little section here. Okay, so we've got that look here. Let's go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back. I think I will just get a new sheet of dimensionals here so that we can see it a little better. So if you wanted to, continue to use your edges on it, but let's go ahead and we'll get 3 dimensionals on. Take those off. Put those on. All right. So I like to put this on first. And then that way I can see where our little tails go, or our little leaf images are. And let's see here. I'm going to get the bow maker out. So those of you that got the bow maker over my special weekend, congrats. So I'll go ahead and make a quick bow for it. So this is a way that you can make a bow and add it to it. So we didn't have to tie it around the whole unit and then make the bow. We can just make our bow independently if we'd like. Okay, so that's this. All right, get that on. And let's see here. Looking for my glue dots here. I took them with me home. Let's see if I can find them real quick. Whoops, hang on with me. I discovered that last class that I held here, it was like, oh my goodness, I needed to get some glue dots, and I never run out of glue dots, but I ran myself out of some glue dots. All right, I'm going to put this over here. And we're going to finish this off with a little rhinestone on the top. I probably had that over to the left just a little too much, but we'll go with it. And I'll put a little rhinestone. Maybe we'll do a couple of them here. Do a little cluster of 3. Have a little bling on it. So that's how, like, the 2 different looks to the front. Still a little partial to the floral, but this is a way of, you know, making it real neutral on that. All right, we got a little stamping to do for the inside of it. So I'm going to bring in our evening evergreen and kind of give a little nod to our branches that we have here. And so this is one of the images in the stamp set. And what I like about these leaves that kind of form a V, these are great to put in your corners. So I'll go ahead and stamp those. So anytime you want to make a little frame, or I don't want to even call it a border, but just like kind of frame out something, you could do that. So if you were doing a scrapbook page with a photo, you know, that would be an idea that you could use for that. And and then on the inside of this, I'm going to just put celebrate on it. Just a little reminder that you are loved, and then it'll read celebrate. So while this is kind of geared towards a birthday card class, you know, reminder that you are loved, celebrate, that could be anything that you're wanting to do, just that, celebrate an accomplishment and let somebody know that you're thinking of them. Okay, we'll go ahead and get our liquid glue, put on those, and then celebrate. All right, so what you could do on this, if you wanted to add a little more detail to the front of what I might call the back side of this paper, is that you could take your leaf stamps with the evening evergreen, and before you glue everything down, you could stamp this pattern onto, you know, all over the front of it if you wanted to, or any of the other images from it. But that's just kind of 2 different looks for the same pattern paper, just flip the other side of it. All right, that is our second card that we're done with already. Now we're going to do the 3rd card. This is a card that I got a birthday card of the same layout from my upline Dawn, and I saved it because I so wanted to replicate this card at class with all of you guys. So it was a totally different feeling and everything of it, but I loved the layout. This fun fold, you open this, and then you open this, and you just have on and on and on. And it looks like it's really complicated, but it's not. It's just some clever folds. All right, let me get all of our stuff in here. So this is what you would get in your kit. And we're going to get the trimmer out. Now, I will have this already pre-scored for you, but I just wanted you to kind of see how you would go about doing it on your own. I'm going to start with this balmy blue card base, this part of it here. And so this is cut at 5.5 by 6 1/4. And what we want to do is when you have the 6 1/4 inch side, we are going to score it at 2 inches. So bring it over here and line it up to the 2-inch mark. Make sure I have my score blade on it. It's the lighter of it. So it's the light gray on your trimmer. And score. All right, get that moved off to the side. And we'll do that. Whoops. And this is going to be good. We can do this here together as well. Forgot to get my designer paper scored. This is another one of the beautiful floral patterns that are that's in the pack. And we'll take a look at the patterns here in just a little bit. But this is going to be cut at 1.5 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and, or I'm sorry, it's going to be 1 3/4. So there's the 1, and then each one of these is a 1/4. So there's 1, 1/4, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. Line up the lines. It's going to be a cut. And then we're going to cut this at 5 1/4. So there's the 5 1/4. That's the 4th there. Again, the solid lines down there, and we'll trim it. The reason why I was going into detail on that a little bit is that I've had a couple people that have recently bought the trimmer, and they had some questions about the marking. So I thought I would just take that moment to go ahead and do so. Again, you could use whatever side that you'd like. I'm going to use my liquid glue. And we'll go ahead and get that down right on the flap. We have that. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to put down the inside of this. So basically, it's almost like 2 card bases that we're using in there. So the basic white cardstock, which is the inner layer, it's going to be 8 by 5 1/4. And we'll go ahead and fold that in half so that it becomes a card base that's 4 by 5 1/4. And if you don't have a bone folder handy, you can always take your snips and get that crisp edge on here. And I'm going to do that because with all of these folds, to have that score line, it's really important to get that down. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this down now. So we'll go ahead and use liquid glue again. Kind of making sure I've got some corner action going here. And make sure that I've got score line and score line going in the same direction or the same side. And we'll mat that on the inside. I'm going to open that up and get good contact. All righty. All right, so now let's do some stamping. We are going to, I've got 2 pieces of basic white, and these are both cut at 3 by 2 1/2. And let's see here, get my sentiments on this one. This one says, for a special person on a special day. And I'm going to use the Memento black ink. And I want to stamp that down towards the bottom. Get that here. And then I'm going to repurpose the Celebrate again. I'm going to go ahead and clean it off real quickly. Stamp that back up. Now this is going to go right in the center of the second one. Okay. And I'm going to take the floral image that's in the stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that here a couple of times on the top. And I'm going to, while I have this, I'm going to stamp it on the bottom corner here. And let's see, do I have it anywhere else? Yes. And then I've got a couple Celebrate, one on the top and one on the bottom. All right, so what I did on the card sample here is I did use my Balmy Blue combo pack of the blending brushes. And so I've got that. I'm just going to color one here with us together, and then I'll go back in and I'll finish the rest off camera. So that way you don't have to watch me color for, you know, another 10 minutes here on camera. But what I like to do, everyone kind of has their own way of doing the coloring. But I start with the lighter color. And I'm going to do the front one only for right now because I'm going to be layering it and I want the front of it to look finished. So I just kind of lay a little of the lighter color down, and then I come in with the darker color and I follow the artist's line. So wherever they have a little line, I come in and just kind of go over that a little bit. And then even with that little bit, it really pops the flower. Again, I'm just, you know, I'm not an expert at blending by any means. When, you know, you have a little more time to do it, you know, you can just go over it and do a little detail. But I hope that you can see, like, even do it quickly, you can make it look like really cute. Okay, so the next step is we're going to put both of our stamped white pieces onto layering Balmy Blue, and these are cut at 3 3¼ by 2 3/4, and they're both exactly the same because we want them to layer exactly when we close up the card. Okay, so I'll get this one down, and then we'll get this one down. And because these are going to be on another piece of cardstock, it won't bleed through when I go to color them later. So that's why I'm okay with coming back in at a little later time and doing so. Okay. What I found is that I like to do is I like to center the one that's going to be on the inside. I like to do that one first. And so this one, again, we're just going to use our liquid glue. And I'm going to center that onto, when I open up the Balmy Blue, I'm going to center that onto the basic white layer. Okay, so now when I do this one, what I want to do is I just want to add glue on what's going to be the back side of the left side. Okay, so we'll do that. And then because we want it to cover up exactly, line it up on the right side and then lay it down. So now when you open it, it lines up perfectly and it's part of the fun reveal. Okay, so let's finish decorating this one. Ahead of time, what I did is I've stamped, colored, and die cut out 2 more of the same flower images here. And I'm going to do a little building of some of the other elements that are in the die set. It's these fun little airy sprigs, kind of like what we had seen in the other card. That's real open and airy. I really like that look. And we'll go ahead and we'll do those. I've got a little poking out to do. So get some of those. And what I wanted to let you guys know is that this image here is perfect for kind of trimming down a little bit. So in your kits, you'll be getting, for each card, you'll be getting 2 of these, but we're going to cut 2 to make 4. And by that, what I mean is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just make a little snip right here at the edge. And so now I made that into 2 elements. So you can kind of pick a spot, but I kind of pick like here's the top of it. And if I count 1, 2, 3, that's where I'm going to make my little branch cut on it. So now I've got 4 little embellishments, and now I can use those 4 embellishments for the back side of my flowers. And then we'll put that on. So I think what I'm going to do next is I do want to get a little of I've got my Stampin' Seal Plus, and I want to use that just a little bit so I can tack down these little branches, these little sprigs, so to speak, on it. And let's see here. I'm going to have one going kind of like the pointy ones, kind of going up on this one, and then this one can kind of come out this way. So see, that looks so good, I think. And then I want this one to go the other direction. So I'm going to use the one that's kind of the pointy on the top again. And if you wanted to, you can just use one and not use the other part of it, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so now that I've got those tacked to the back, I'm going to come in with our dimensionals, and we'll go ahead and get those popped up here. Okay. So now you can just kind of play around with where you want those layered. Let's see, I think I have them overlap just a little bit. I'm going to make sure that I put them on our rectangle piece here. And let's see, just kind of, you can play around with where you might like to have them. Let's see. Get this. Isn't this where we spend most of our time, just kind of playing around with the layers? I think I like that. So, all right, I'm going to be fussing with that a little bit to maybe bring that down just a tad. But here's the other one. I had these 2 stamped a little closer together, so if that's something that you'd like to do, you can. And in fact, let me see if I'm going to. This is just something that you can do. It's like we all do it, right? I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to move it. Maybe. Move that over here. Let's get another dimensional. Do you guys ever do that? You put it down and then go, no, that needs to be in a totally different place. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this one so it's over here. And then I'm going to be maybe just a little more careful with this one. I'm going to get underneath of it a little more. There, that one peeled off. Wonderful. All right, there we go. That looks better. Might even make a third one down the road. But this would be how you could make yours here. And then if you wanted to, you could add either more texture onto it. You could do the seam binding, but I was going to just show you, if you wanted to, you can use the white baker's twine. And I'm going to wrap that around twice. And I'll show you this way without using the bow maker. All right, so probably do that a little bit before putting on the embellishment, might make it just a little bit easier. But when I do these wraparounds on the baker's twine, how I get that look is, whoops, get this up here real quick. All right, when it comes up here, I kind of tie, like I'm tying my shoe. I've got this so that I'm making an up and over little slip knot so that it kind of keeps the baker's twine all together. Okay, so I'll get this one going this way, and this one over top of that. And then I'm going to just go ahead and make a little slip knot like I'm tying my shoe. And then, as you can see, I gave myself plenty of baker's twine so that I can tie my bow. And then this is where then I can play around with the size of it that I want. And then that's good. Let's snip those off. Okay, so that is going to be our class here this week for the framed florets class. And let me bring everything back in here together. So this is a kit to go that you could get for free with your $35 minimum order on my online store. I will let everybody know that if this is something that you're interested in, you may want to hold off until December 1st because Stampin' Up's going to have their their last chance list for the current holiday mini as well as the clearance rack refresh. So you might be able to find some bargains on there. And if you do, and it gets to $35 and you use the link that has my host code, I'll send you this class kit for free. Let's see what else on that. This class offering is good through next Tuesday. So I'll have the date range on there too. So anytime that you order between now and next Tuesday, this could be something you could get in the mail for free. And then you'll have your tutorial here that you can rewatch over again in order to put these cards together. All right, you guys, have a great Wednesday. Thanks for watching and happy crafting. Bye-bye.